Hello, everyone. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the September 2021 edition of Coffee with GGHK, Coffee with Gay Games Hong Kong. My name is Betty Grisoni, and I will be your host today. But today I won't be alone. I will not be moderating this show alone. I would like to welcome Shiv Paul, who is the Vice President of External Relations for the Federation of Gay Games. Welcome, Shiv.
Thank you.
I would like to thank everybody to tune in today. And maybe you're watching live or you're watching the recording, but our chat is quite unique. This is our first GGHK Coffee with GGHK since we have announced that the Gay Games Hong Kong will be postponed. Today we have our panelists on the panel. We have Dennis Philipse and Lisa Lam, the co-chair of Gay Games Hong Kong. And I let Shiv introduce our guests of the Federation of Gay Games.
Thank you, Betty. Pleasure to be here with you on this very special GGHK chat. We have Joanie Evans and Sean Fitzgerald, our co-presidents of the Federation of Gay Games. Joanie is based in the UK and Sean is based in Vancouver. And they are going to be here to answer some FGG specific questions around how the postponement may have affected members and so on and so forth and things of that nature.
Great, thank you. So I just would like first to introduce Dennis and Lisa. Thank you, Dennis and Lisa, for joining us tonight. Maybe some people viewing this might know you, some might not. Do you want to give a little bit of background of who you are and what is actually your involvement with Gay Games Hong Kong?
Lisa, you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah, so hi, my name is Lisa Lam. I joined Gay Games, the team about in 2018 after the bidding team, won and brought the games back to Hong Kong. So I initially joined as the general counsel, the looking after legal matters, and then also working very closely with Dennis, on the government relations side of things. Later on, I think the previous co-chair, stepped down, and then I became the co-chair alongside Dennis since November 2020, was it? 2020, right? Yes, this is 2021. Yes, 2020. Yes. Hello, everyone.
Okay, so thank you, Lisa, and thank you, Betty, and Shiv for hosting us. And my name is Dennis Philipse, and I think I've been involved now with the Gay Games organization for nearly 6.5 years. Officially in early 2016, when Gay Games Hong Kong started bidding, and then in November 2017, already 4 years ago, when Hong Kong was selected as host city. So this is really quite a unique opportunity to have everybody together in this call. Thank you for creating this.
And Shiv, do you want to do the same with our guests from the Federation of Gay Games?
Yeah, thank you. And thank you, Dennis and Lisa. Joanie and Sean, to Betty's words, maybe some people on the call, it's their first time at this chat and maybe they'd like to know a little bit more about you. So would you just take a few minutes to tell everyone about yourselves and your experience with FGG?
My name's Joanie Evans. I've been the co-president for 6 years. Came on the board as the co-president at the point of Paris getting the games and London not getting the games. But my involvement stretched further than that. I've been to every game since New York in '94. And so I'm very pleased to be here and to be representing the Federation, to be speaking about Hong Kong in 2023.
Hi, I'm Sean Fitzgerald. I'm the other co-president of the FGG. Like Joanie, my participation started in New York in 1994. And then I joined the board of the Federation in 2008 as the secretary, moved on to the vice president of operations and have been the co-president since 2017.
Yeah.
Is that, or no, 2016. Ooh, wow. So yeah, it's been a great ride, and looking forward to the games in Hong Kong.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I'm gonna ask the first question that's really about our subject tonight, and I'm going to ask Lisa and Dennis. So maybe just very much on when, because this is actually we are now in September. So when was it made?
Well, why don't I take this one first then, Dennis? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello? Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, so actually, we have always had the contingency plan, right? About, go, no go, basically business continuity plan, to plan for the gay games operations. And we're reviewing this plan together with, Sean and, the FGG organization together every month, as to how are we tracking in terms of the various contingencies. And of course, this plan was developed in part after the social unrest as well as the COVID in globally. And one of the key factors are travel restrictions, around the world. And as we all know, if we have to open to have the gay games, next November 2022, we must, at the minimum, open registration in November 2021, which is 6 weeks from now. And probably, I think everyone would agree, more likely than not, COVID is not going to go away in November miraculously. And so basically back in, I would say August, early August, because we were thinking, okay, we really need to make a good decision to whether we're going to open or not, right? Because we need to go back and look at, marketing, system development, all those preparation work for us to open. And that's when we really sit down to look at our options. And that was, I think, the decision first came up. I was asking Dennis, well, would postponement be an option? And that's how it all started. The two of us was talking about this, right? Would you agree, Dennis?
Yes, and that's the starting point. And based on that, we had several discussions with our management team. We looked at several options, what we can do, and can we open registration anyway, and then hope that within the next couple of months, things will be better. Another option was to look at the local events with international events in different places simultaneously. A third option was postponing. Postponing, of course, was always a bit difficult topic because we really didn't know what would be the response from the Federation of Gay Games, from our sponsors, partners, and volunteers. So we really created a very detailed document of pros and cons, and we sent that about 3 weeks ago to the Federation of Gay Games, to the board, and to discuss these options. But I think it's also very important to go back to our purpose. Yeah, the purpose of the first Gay Games in Asia is where we really want to bring everybody in the world to come to the Gay Games. And the COVID situation, unfortunately, in many places around the world is not equally happening. Some parts of the world, people don't have the access to vaccination. And some places, people have not been able to train to see a swimming pool for about 18 months. And so based to our purpose, we said, maybe it would be better to postpone this event for 1 year to make sure that everybody is welcome to participate and also has been able to travel to practice their sports and able to come to Hong Kong. And then over to the Federation of Gay Games, how the discussion then moved on from there.
Okay, thank you very much. So a few options were considered. I think you mentioned that. We're going to talk to you, Joanie and Sean, in a minute, but I have a further question. So what was the public reaction so far?
Well, actually, I think the reaction, the initial reaction has been really positive, overwhelming. Generally, we talked to all our sponsors, like Marion Bonvoy, YouTube. They were actually, relieved because I think they were also worried about the COVID situation. So they thought positive, think, oh, okay, that makes sense, and they were supportive. And plus, they always thought, oh, now I got an extra year, to promote, my brand, and then in terms of our volunteers, so basically since the announcement, we have reached out to all of our volunteer base, which is now, 200 plus going on 300, large base. And everyone generally, of course, I think initially, people thought, oh, a little bit sad, because we were really gearing up with the momentum. But I think, after the news sink in, people also understand, yeah, this is a good decision, the right decision, a hard one, but the right decision, given our purpose, right? And then, of course, we also talk with our community partners, our venue partners and things like that. So those are like one by one, but generally in all, it's been supportive.
I really want to add here also one thing. I really want to thank the leadership of the Federation of Gay Games, Joanie, Sean, and how they've been working together with us and the whole board over the last couple of weeks. This is really shown through partnership. When we had the discussion about postponement, we were also afraid of how will the FGG respond to this. But on the other hand, it's like a real relationship, it's a real partnership. And I think the true is to be honest and transparent. And I think that was really the key of the success, what happened in the last couple of weeks, and the feedback from external people about this decision.
Great, thank you. Shall we just hear a little bit on the FGG side?
Yeah, that would be great, and wholeheartedly agree with both of you, Lisa and Dennis, in terms of what you're saying. And I know that from the external relations perspective, also externally, I had heard people were disappointed, obviously, but overwhelmingly in support of the decision. But Sean and Joanie, maybe you can talk a little bit about the reaction from FGG members specifically, or even sports federations, if any of that sort of filtered through to you.
I think we always take our members' feelings into consideration when anything's happening, especially around making sure that we put on the best games ever. And I think that the worry is that our members wouldn't approve or may not like the idea, but I think we've overwhelmingly gotten a positive response to the postponement. And also people do realize that the work that is put into producing an event such as ours does take a lot of time and considerations. And that I think for now, I think our members probably see the efforts that are being gone into by GGHK in order to produce something. And also that we ourselves as an organization, the Federation, are taking into consideration all of the aspects that come with producing an event such as ours. And especially in unprecedented times, I would have never thought in my lifetime that I would have been dealing with a pandemic at such close quarters, in terms of not only on a personal level, but on an international level. And to try to create something that's going to be of a benefit to the whole nation of our community. So, my thing is that for now I feel more positive moving forward with the decision that's been made, because I know that we've got a greater support from our members moving forward. So that probably went too far, but yeah,
for me, it was actually our member organizations at our 2019 annual General Assembly that really pushed us to form a contingency planning group. And then like to commend the Gay Games Hong Kong team for reaching out to control risks early in the pandemic, and really pulling them in and having a monthly update with our steering committee, which then we took to the board each month at the beginning of our board meeting, just to update on what the contingencies were, how Hong Kong was faring with their go, no-go options as we move forward. I think that made it very easy once it came to the point where we had to make the decision, where the board was already up to date. So we were able to move very quickly, which when you make a decision like this is very important because you don't want leaks to get out. Like, are they going to delay? Aren't they going to delay? What's the plan? It's like we kind of knew ahead of time if there was an issue, this is what we were going to do. And we were able to move forward very quickly. And I think the launch of the announcement was done very well, that our members felt included. We had a special meeting with them just a few days after the announcement, where they were able to ask questions and voice concerns. And I think it was pretty much unanimous. In fact, it was unanimous on the call that everybody was in favor of the move, and happy that the decision had been made.
That's great.
Yeah, really, thank you, Shiv and Sean and Joanie. You know, you guys been great, very, very supportive. Really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Any specific? I'm just going to jump in. Any specific questions from the sports federation? I think Dennis mentioned something about people training.
Yeah, we got indications from several organizations that they didn't feel get ready if the event would take place in November 2022, because they haven't not been able to practice their sport, not playing the tennis, or maybe the wrestling or swimming, and especially for a sport, for example, like wrestling, which is a contact sport, and where people need to have some proper preparation in advance. It can be quite dangerous if people are not prepared enough and to go onto the mats.
Okay. So this is what's happened the last few weeks. Let's now look at the future. Maybe I would like to ask Dennis and Lisa, what are now the next step for Gay Games Hong Kong?
Well, let me take a crack, and then of course Dennis can always supplement. So basically, with the pushing out for an extra year, now we have one more year to do our outreach, our marketing, and everything. We are going to we already commenced, putting together a new strategic plan. Of course, based on the original 2022 plan, but we're going to rework it, remodel it for 2023 games. And, and so we have already started that. We're going to be engaging with the organization, within GGHK, and then we're building up the plan. The idea is that by August, we will be presenting the updated 2023 Gay Games plan to the membership of FGG, and then of course before that we'll also be working very, very closely together with FGG, the steering committee, to make sure everyone is aligned and working towards the same revised plan.
Do you want to clarify what AGA means? Maybe some of our viewers don't really understand that.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's the annual General Assembly of the FGG, which is hosted every year, and which will be this year will be in the UK, if I understand correctly. Yeah.
That's right.
Thank you. And at the same week, we will also have a press conference and to update our partners and sponsors. About new sponsors which we have lined up. We will also announce the GGHK Ambassador Program, and of course we will give more insight about the planning for 2023.
So when will that happen again?
We've scheduled that for the first week of November.
Okay.
More details soon.
Great, thank you. Maybe Shiv, you can ask what will be the next step for the FGG.
Yeah, I think sort of in a similar vein, Sean and Joanie I think everyone would love to understand what does this mean for FGG, and even what does this mean for the next games after Hong Kong. Obviously, we'll be announcing that host winner of our 3 finalist cities at the annual General Assembly meeting in November. Can you talk a little bit about what this means for FGG and for the next games?
Yeah, this actually has some very positive, not just for the next games, but for this one. Is one of the things that we've been following closely is the lack of marketing opportunities that we normally have. Usually a large part of our marketing is to go to other events, the IGLA championships, the IGBO championships, the gala choruses, things like that. And we haven't been able to do that the past year and a half. So now hopefully smaller events leading up to the games will now happen over the next 2 years, that we can go and really get people excited to go to Hong Kong. But moving beyond there, usually there's a little lull after the games. Most people think, okay, the games stop at the closing ceremonies, but there's actually another 6 to 9 months where the host city is wrapping up, giving us reports so that we can move those reports and lessons learned to the next host. And normally during that time, it's a little bit of lull. Everyone's taking a deep breath because we've just gone through so much. That lull is not going to get to happen going forward. It's like the momentum coming out of Hong Kong is going to lead us right into the next city. And it's going to be a little bit exciting because we'll actually be able to market the next event while we're in Hong Kong, because it won't be that long after Hong Kong before the registration process for the next games opens up. So it really, I think, helps the next host, because the gay games will still be on everybody's mind when they're ready to launch.
Yeah, thank you. That's great.
Joanie, do you want to add anything on this?
No, it's just on the last bit that Sean said, because I think that one of the positives that came out of the postponement is that it's helped with a lot of publicity regarding the game. So it's put us back on a, we're back in the front of people's minds now. So it means that it's also another good thing.
I think this couple of years has taught us to be flexible. I think this is what we have actually been doing, and amazingly, I also think it's an amazingly positive thing. Yes, something happens, but let's move on, and this is great, and that just shows what a great team Lisa, Dennis, Sean, and Joanie you're leading. Everybody is actually quite positive and quite very enthusiastic. It just give us one more year. Hey, okay, let's bring it on. Anything else you wanted to add?
What Sean mentioned is that due to the COVID situation, many in-person events didn't happen, right? And now the events are slowly happening. And we can every month we have a coffee with a GGHK webinar, but having in-person events will really help us to get more and more reach, and especially to go hopefully also in Asia places. Where we can able to raise more awareness and get more excitement about the gay games.
So hopefully we're coming to a city near you soon.
On a personal level, what I've learned from this is that I think some of you are familiar with the Kubler-Ross curve of change, with realization, acceptance, denial, frustration. These are the different orders. And I think when I started first with Lisa talking about postponement, we first went in denial, and because we said we want to keep the event happening, we don't want to postpone. And then we got frustrated that probably it is the best way to postpone it, even though it's very painful. And then we put things on paper and things became more real. And then, of course, a kind of sort of depression. And I must be honest, I had some sleepless nights thinking about, we really going to postpone this with 1 year. It's a bit like running a marathon. And then 5K to the end, they say, sorry, you need to run another 10K. So because it requires lots of effort, and we're all volunteers, and we're all doing this because we believe in it, and in the games. But putting an extra year of effort in it requires quite some pacing. And I think the pacing element is a very important element, because in the marathon, when you need to do another 10K, you cannot keep going the fast way because you will not be able to finish it. So for us as a team, it's very important to go back to our planning and to look at some pacing to make sure that we are able to finish the games in 2023, November.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, our guest. That was actually great sharing. And now we understand a little bit better how the decisions were made and how, what was the reaction. And it looks like the reactions was actually quite positive. We have 1 more year to bring the best game ever. So if you have any questions about our chat tonight, you can actually email us at hello@ggHK2022.com. That's our email still. And just go to our website. We have lots of information. Things will come, the changes will come slowly on what's happening exactly next. But you can go there for more information. Our next coffee with GGHK is still happening. Our next one will be in October, end of October, the last Thursday of October. So we hope to see you there.